Alright, guys, we are live, and I apologize for not being on Saturday. Sadly to say, I had a medical emergency I had to attend to, and thus didn't get back in time to make a video. But I did promise I would make one every weekend, so here we are. It is Sunday, and we're in this to make it, make gold and get things going. So, as of right now, you're going to kind of jump in, because I went to go try to kill a rare with some of the guildies. And I'm going to jump in here, and we're going to let it start doing its post, as I also respond to a whisper. Anyway, so yeah, I have been posting some today. What I was going to try to do before I got to the point of streaming was get all my auctions on the auction house and then just come back and open the mailbox, and you could see what I made for the week. Now, last time, I haven't been on for a couple of days now, so last time I looked at the mail, there was only a little bit of gold, but then I logged out, or right before I logged out, I think Thursday night, there was new mail, and I knew there was nothing that expired. So, assuming that those are auction sales, woohoo! I got another one that I'm going to tell you about here in just a second. I'm going to say thank you, and I will let her know. Okay. If you've seen some of these YouTubers who are out there, they've talked about being able to go and get the plans for the Sulfurian Hammer. Really easy. You can only do it once on a tune. I mean, for a lifetime, you could only do it once on a tune. And then you turn around and put the pattern up on the auction house. Okay? So it's plans, and as soon as these finish, I will show you what the plans are, and then oh wow, that happens all the time. Okay, let's see. We're going to go to let's see if that'll do it. Yep, Sulfurian Ingot. Alright, here we go. So, see, the Sulfurian Hammer is the hammer for that technically can be made, and it's the Ragnaros hammer, for those who don't know. But if you look, it's going, well, it's actually gone down in price because it was in the 100Ks. But you can see it's up there in price. Well, here's the funny part. I had put two plans on the auction house, and they sold. I was like, what? No way. Both sold for 7,500. Now, you can see, since then, the price went up. So my guess was one of these guys went and pulled my plans and raised the price. So I thought, okay, we'll play his game and we'll go get another pattern, right? Why not? Let's make that happen. And so that is what I did. Now, it's not on this tune. We're going to finish out his mail. Ooh, we've got gold. So let's take out the expirations and see what sold. A lot of people are talking about, since, if you don't know, the patch 8.0 is dropping come Tuesday. So you have about a little over 24 hours to go and get everything cleaned up and get everything done that you want to get done. And then come Tuesday, after they allow everybody back on, everything changes. Yeah. Including how you can, do farming and stuff. And so there you go. Patterns for Boots of Blasting. Okay. And you can see that only sells for 4 gold, but just gold is gold at this point. I'm not too worried about it. I might actually send that over to my other tune and have him hang on to it, because after 8.0, it might go up in price. We'll have to see, because that's a pretty expensive pattern, but just saying. A majority of these things, okay, so you can see crafted, but after that, majority of these things come from drops. Look at the price, 319 gold for a chest piece, a leather chest piece, and most of them are drops while I'm farming mats. Crazy, but actually happens. So there you go. So, okay, on what we sold on this tune this week, we made 11,755 gold. Remember, I ran out of token time, so I also bought a token. So we're sitting at 211 across all our tunes, and when I get to the other tune who has the bank and stuff, I'll show you what he's got in there now. So some things kind of did move, and I put in there because I needed to, offset the buying of the token. But pretty much it looks like all of it's BOA, one pet for 9 gold. So it's just the little things, some pets. But a crafted item, which is right here, the Styling Crimson Hat, went for 9,400. So you can see some crafted items are still selling and making it. So let's go ahead and collect, which is a woohoo. I think if I had to tell you, have I come to the 100 or to the million point just doing the auctions? I'd say maybe, because I have bought 2 tokens since I've started it. So let's just say that's rounded, just say 200k, and then I had 200k here. So I would say I've probably been about 600 on average so far per month. And I have to, I've said it before, and I cannot remember the YouTuber who did it, but I agree with him that we've been playing this game for 14 years plus, and by now we shouldn't really have to pay to play anymore, right? There's got to be a way to use the economy of the game to get your game time. So selling the gold has actually been the way of doing that. And you can see, selling items, making the gold, there we go, is the way of doing that. So it takes a little work. You have to be willing to do it. Some people I've heard says they don't want to go through the farming process. Well, that's fine, but you still tend to run dungeons for maybe some transmog gear of yourself, right? Well, get the add-ons, the TSM and the wonderful loot appraiser, and you can get an idea of what those items are selling for. So if you're the type of person who likes to farm dungeons for your own transmog gear, what do you do with the extra transmog stuff? Vendor it. Some of them, like you saw here, 319 gold, 229 gold. Whereas if you vendor it, you're only getting 2 gold, and 14 gold. I mean, think of the difference there. You could be making some more. There's one for 743 gold on the minimum buyout, and if you vendored it, it's 8 gold. Do the math. You're losing gold by, vendoring this stuff. I mean, Blizzard doesn't care if you're going to keep paying them $15 a month. No offense to Blizzard. I mean, it's a great way to keep your market going and stay in business. But Blizzard has other ways that they also generate money from individuals. They have sponsorships from companies like EA and so forth. But then they have their shop that you can do different things. Like if I wanted to upgrade Battle of Azeroth to the Super Edition, whatever, the deluxe update grade, it's only $20 more, and I get all these wonderful things, which is a perk, but $20 more that they make. How many people are doing that? They're probably quite a bit. They sell the pets, which right now there's 2 pages of pets, and yes, you can see I have bought pets in the past. Out of real money, not out of gold money. I've done the same with mounts, and they're bringing out new mounts. And by the way, if anyone ever wants to gift me one, this is the one I want. No, I probably will get him sometime in the future. But I do like him. But you can see what I mean. There's mounts in there, so you could get those. The WoW token, which actually has gone down. Remember I said I should have waited, or I shouldn't have waited when it was 205. When I bought it, it was 211. So, but after Tuesday, I got a feeling we're going to see a huge spike in this price on the WoW token. But again, If you want gold in a game, you pay Blizzard $20, you sell the token on the auction house, and within 2 hours, you have that amount of gold guaranteed. So there's people who do that. So they're throwing $20 to Blizzard constantly. Services such as boosted character, name change, character transfers, all those things, they cost. And then they have bundle packages where you can get pets and mounts and so forth. And again, those are prices as well. But I mean, think about it. Blizzard knows that people are eventually going to start making the gold to purchase their tokens and keep their gameplay. So how else do they make up gold? Well, they've got this. They've got their another store that actually sells like shirts and so forth. Items that you want to buy, and there's a couple items I won't deny I've looked at and I said, ooh, I'd love to get those. I've seen YouTubers who have the wonderful posters in the background, and they're stunning posters, and some of them are discontinued, and you're like, oh, I would love to have that. And that's real money. So, I mean, think about it. Blizzard does make a crap ton of money. And it's not just, World of Warcraft. They've got other games in the system as well that, I could show you, and you could see that, oh, wow, they're making money left and right. I mean, they're not they're not a bad company. They're a great company, and they have some wonderful ways of putting out some good videos for their games and so forth. All right, thanks to Tiger Dude, one of my guildies. Excuse me. He showed me something, and I've heard somebody else mention it, but I didn't pay attention. I didn't do it. I got rid of my Hearthstone, which gave me an extra bag slot. And you think, well, guess you really don't need it if this is a bank toon who just sits there and, collects mail. You're right. But this toon can also go and do the leveling and so forth if I wanted to. So what I did was there's multiple toys that you can get. I ended up getting, for this one, the Tome of the Town Portal, which is, believe it or not, a toy, but it also does the hearth. It acts like a hearthstone. So it doesn't go in your bag, so you have that extra bag slot, and you can sell the stuff, or clear a bag slot, which is pretty cool. They have others that can do the same thing. So if you end up finding those toys, if you're a, what is that called? The archaeologist. If you're an archaeologist, you'll find that they have those two, which I believe is called the Innkeeper's Daughter, I believe is what it's called. And so obviously you can make some pretty good bag slots there by getting those. Oh, I thought that was the Sulfurian pattern. I do not see it here, but then there's still mail. What is there? There's still 71 more mails that we have yet to see. So we're going to go through this. I still wonder, like, you're going to see a lot of this armor is not going to get posted. And I'm still trying to figure out why, but somebody told me that it could be because there's a set number that goes into the system. So if you're doing multiple tunes, then obviously you're going to only have so many in there. And so once it hits a certain level and you add more, it pushes some out. And so you have to constantly redo that, which makes sense to me. But I mean, you got to understand too, I have more than just transmog gear. I also have patterns that I sell, pets that I sell. So, I mean, you add that all together, and I'm sure that makes a lot of space to be taken away. So, I did not check while I'm letting this do its sale. Let's go to our YouTube page here. If you haven't done so, just so you know, I think we're streaming on the wrong YouTube. Yeah, might be. I think we're streaming on TMV Cafe. No? Interesting. We should be streaming. We should be live. And yes, you get the wonderful pause for me, so if you are seeing this, great. If not, I'm probably going to have to... found it. Yay! Okay. Going to have to... Okay, so we are streaming up there on live, and it does say the Gold Challenge Weekly follow-up, and I might need to adjust that because we already have one. But what I was going to say is if you do have not seen it yet, there is a Facebook page now. You can follow Mortalvamp Gaming on there. Please go ahead and do that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the wonderful YouTube as we're doing it. And I do apologize for that pause there. It just kind of threw me off. And when you're doing live stuff, like, you know, I do radio every week. So when you're doing live stuff, you tend to... a lot of things can sidetrack you, and you're going to pause, and you're going to be like, so you can see that happens. There's a lot of wonderful mistakes that can happen when you're doing live video or live radio or live whatever. So, you know, it happens, but we're doing it. So let's see. 63 items here. I think I actually, I have more in bag, so it means a lot of this isn't going to post. We'll have to go through it. There was a comment from a YouTuber who said that everybody should be dumping their banks and dumping all their stuff and getting ready for BFA. It does sound like a great idea, folks, but let me advise you to wait. Now, somebody else might tell me I'm crazy, but give me a second here and I'll explain. When Legion dropped, everybody dumped everything on from their banks on the auction house right away, and it flooded the market, and everything became so dirt cheap that it wasn't even worth putting it up on the auction house. I waited until roughly a month after and then put stuff up on the auction house, and it sold like hotcakes, but it sold for a heck of a lot better price. So if you have TSM, I would suggest using it to see what's on the market, and if it's oversaturated with too much items, you know, such as whatever you're going to put up, and the prices are like extremely low, don't bother. You know, I mean, use the services that are available, the add-ons that are available to help you with that. This way, you're making the ideal sell when you need to sell it. This way, you can do what the whole purpose is to make gold for yourself. So, just check it out. Make sure. I have heard others ask the question of prices. What's your minimum and maximum and whatsoever to put on the auction house? To be honest with you, I have patterns and stuff that are going up for like 2 gold. Doesn't bother me. I mean, they're lower crafting patterns and so forth. But I did get to a point when I first started, I didn't care. Anything and everything I put on the auction house, I would. But if I look at an item and it vendors for more than what the auction would be, then I'm vendoring it. And the good thing with TSM, if you follow the links that I've shared on here before, the good thing with it is it'll tell you. See, like if you look here, undercutting competition, posting at normal price, and so forth, it will also tell you if it's below vendor pricing. If it's below vendor pricing, you can choose one of 2 things. Like, I'm going to use this hat again. You could see where it says market value, regional market value. So regional market value is 264. There's 7 of these on the auction house right now. There'll be 8 once mine goes up. The thing is if those 7 sold, then it's just mine. The average at that point would be 264. So you would have to ponder whether it's worth it or not. In my case, I think it's worth it. But if you got something like here's one for 47 gold, it really does sell for more, and I don't understand why it's so low. I probably could go over and buy those three and put them all three up for 375. I bet, and that might be something I do. So let's see. What is that called? The Consortium Pants of Intellect. So let's go post, post. That's Pants of the Seer. Where's those? Ah, right there. Three also. So we're going to skip that one. See, this is what you can do. If you don't want to sell certain items, you can skip. So now it won't go. Post, 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 post. Boots of the Invoker, we can post. Post, post. There it is. See, but here now it says it's going up for 300 gold. And I didn't pay attention to the other one. It was going up for 300 gold too. Okay, well, then we'll post them. Let's take a look what this one that stays behind is selling for. Come on now. Go on. Move. Oh, apparently I didn't click all the posts. There we go. Okay. So, we're going to browse these bad boys. No items found, but it said there's 3 selling. This is where at times when you need to figure out what you're, what you want. So we'll go through this again, put them up for the 300. I did click post. Come on now. And sometimes you get a glitch and you got to go back and do it over. Post. There we go. Alright. And we still have mail here. There's some in there, some gold in there, but we still have a good 21 after this first 50. So let's find out. Fingers crossed we're going to have some good sales in there. I hope it's just not 814 gold. What I don't see, I still don't see that pattern. We're going to find out where it is here in a moment. See, Star Ruby, I just put 1 up for 1 gold. Well, while that's resetting, you can see my tune has 2,000 gold. And I use this gold to make the purchase. But it's already back to 125k. Because one good thing I sold and I put the gold that I had on this guy in there. So that gives you an idea. Don't remember what it... Oh, no, I do remember. It was the 2 patterns. It was the 2 patterns that... for the Sulfurian Hammer. So, here we go. Take a look. The Black Diamond, I sold 4 of them at 1 gold. Deep Rock Salt sold, which is little things. But check this out. This blew me away when I first saw it. It came up. The Gnomish Army Knife. Somebody just went in the same day and just bought all the ones I had on the auction house. Enchantments, they sold for 1,698 each. Mage Weave Cloth, 40 for 5 gold. Rune Cloth, 112 for 8 gold. See, some of the stuff doesn't sell all that great, and I thought I would test it. And I didn't expect it to sell, but it did. Eternal Fire, I sold 40 for 4,000, which was the average price at that moment. Winter Spring Cub, which is a pet. Copper Ore. Now, you have to question, why is a cloth cheaper than the ore? There's multiple purposes for the ore, so that's probably why that one went. Bolts of Silk Cloth went, and these were the bolts, not the actual, just the cloth itself. Reverent Leggings of the Bear, which is a BOE item. Night Slayer Bracelets, which is another BOE item. Star Ruby, as I mentioned. And this Furnace Stoker's Foot Wraps. So, 9,900 this week. So it's it's better than nothing. Some of these guys I see, they're making hundreds of thousands of gold each week. You know, I think it's as I mentioned before, I think it's a RNG thing. But as I also mentioned, I do not see it. So we're going to check patterns again here. No. It must already be on the auction house and hasn't sold yet. Let's take a look. My current auctions, which are some of the things that I already put on. Actually, everything I just put on. So the pattern sold, unless I put it in my bank. Let me look. I mean, it blows me away that these things are going to sell like that. See, I'll explain how you get the pattern in just a second. Let's take a look and see. Did you notice the Primal Air didn't sell? It was over 9,000 gold when I put it up. I might wait to do that because I'm thinking about farming again this week for some more of it. But we're looking for pattern, and you can see my stockpile is not as great as others, but then again, I'm also doing a heck of a lot more. This is just casually farming, where a lot of people are, that's all they do is spend their time farming. Oh, also I have 4 of these, and when I put this one up, it was over 1,000 gold, so we're taking him out because I think these will actually sell better after, because there's people now returning, and so those prices are about to go up. But this is pretty much all pets and mounts, and I got more mounts that I'll be making. You could see these guys, they're at 19 gold, so what I did was when they were selling for 30, I went and tested the waters and see if more would sell, and so that's when I put those up. But I do not have the pattern for the Sulfurian ingot, or for the Sulfurian hammer, so it must have sold and I missed it, and that could have been that extra that I don't remember. But here's what you do. You can see right now they're going for 722 gold. When I bought mine, it was only 200. So you know, it's up to you how you get it. I also say there's ways that you can farm it because it drops, and so go farm it if you find it. That would be easier, or if you have the gold to buy it, purchase it. But here's the deal: once you get this, you go to Blackrock. I can't think of the dungeon now. Give me a second here. We're going to go Shift J, and we're going to Dungeons, and this would be the classics. Yes, it would be. And Blackrock Depths, I was right. So you go in here, and what you're going to do is when you get to the Grim Guzzler, there's a guy in the back. I mean, if you could get there with your mole machine, go ahead and do it. But there's a guy in the back that, you know, when you go and talk to him, you can sell stuff to him, but he usually has nothing until you take him that Sulfurian ingot. Then when you talk to him, he has a quest for you, which is really simple. Just listen to his story, sign his charter, and give him the charter with the ingot. Then it opens up, and you have things you can buy from him. And some of them, they're items that you trade, you know, they're mostly items you can trade, except for the Sulfurian Hammer's pattern. So you could get that, and as I said, put it on the auction house and make a pretty penny off of it. We're going to go back there and look again. Plans for the Sulfurian Hammer are currently going for 29k, and that is mine right there. So, but there's people who made it. This is one of my guild members right here, and he's the highest price at the moment. So he probably won't see it sell, but you could look, people put it up for 374k. I don't know why. If you have the add-on, which is what I use, it pops it on there at the lowest price because it'll undercut them by 1 copper. And that's what you want. But even at that, the cheapest one, 722 gold, just like it said. So it's another way of making gold. Farming, getting mats, stockpiling them is not a bad idea. You need, if that's what it takes to get things rolling, and totally suggest doing it if you have the time for it. But before that happens, I would suggest, if you have not done your mage tower or any of the other things that are going away at the end of this patch, get on it and do it now, because you won't be able to do it afterwards. One other thing I wanted to mention is I did go get the fishing pole that's supposed to give you the ability to walk on water or become a fish when you come underwater. And when you started the quest chain for retiring your artifact weapons, it kind of glitched the fishing pole out, so I couldn't do nothing to it. Well, Blizzard hot patched it, and you can go and finish putting the talents into the fishing pole. So you really want to go and do that. There's 2 easy ways of doing it really, really fast. Mainly, there is a thing that you can get off the auction house, and you can only carry one of these special baits at a time, but it is the one for the Murloc. And what you do is you basically, it's funny, you have to be in Suramar to do it, but you slap him and he starts running and he's dropping fish. And you run after him and pick up all those fish. You just have to follow him and it automatically picks it up. Then all the fish that you pick up, you throw back in, and that boosts your artifact power. Also, get any of the fishing baits for your for Suramar, and when you do, you will be able to get different things from that as well. So, such as there's like, I want to say 4 baits for Suramar, and you can get those out there as well. You got the different things that will help you. But when you use those baits, you'll pick up a pretty good amount of fish. Don't throw them all back don't throw them back as soon as you get them. Stockpile them up for a little bit. And then you can end up throwing them all in together, and you can watch your artifact power bar just boost big time. So it takes a little patience. Now you can do it to do the traits. If you give me a second, let's put this one up on the auction house real quick, and I'll switch over to the tune that has it and show you the specific trait line that you want to follow if you want the abilities of the fishing pole. Now, warning, after BFA comes out, you're not going to be able to do one of the abilities on there, and I'll show you here in just a second. So let's switch over to my other tune. There we go. And I'll show you on the fishing pole the real path that you want to take, and I'll tell you what some of these others do, and it's really cool. If you're one of the people who have not done this fishing pole, you have it, but you haven't put any traits into it or something, then it's totally worth doing. But again, you have until 8.0 to do it, as far as I understand. If they do not affect that during for 8.0, then fantastic. But what I've learned so far is majority of the stuff that people are going to be getting now for 8.0 or in 8.0 is pretty much what you're seeing happening going into BFA. Stat squishes, the retirement of the weapons, that the only thing that's going to be worth anything on their deal is going to be their relics. So go get the high relics, but pretty much all the abilities in there are squished and gone, so you don't get those abilities. Now the talents will be some of those abilities might go into talents, and you'll use those. So when you start, you get the undercurrent, which teleports you to the nearest fishing node. And so if you're in the area and you're fishing, you can click, put it on your bar, click it, and it'll take you there. So you can go to blood fishing, which occasionally gives you blood of Sargeras. That's the next in the line. Then follow it around to here. If you are doing an area that you have a choice between the queenfish and the angling, or the mossgill perch to choose, I did the mossgill perch because there was another area that I was farming, for the fish, and I'll tell you in a bit. But it just boom boom. Once you get to this one, this gives you the ability to walk on water when you have the fishing pole connected or attached, and then the final one, become a fish underwater, which allows you to breathe and swim faster. Okay, when you max these up to 3 and you're fishing a pool, it all of a sudden on occasions will pop a barrel and the pool disappears. The barrel is all that pool. You caught all that pool in that barrel. So what you finish fishing up at that point, plus looting the barrel, is everything you get out of it. The reason I chose the mossgill perch at that time was I was working out in Valshahara, and one of the fishing people were up over there, and you would get, certain creatures come up and you'd have to kill it, and then you get the ability to fish up the things to, kind of be a friend to that individual. So I was taking advantage of that while I was over there. But really, don't do my mistake, because that's why you see it going up this way. I thought this boot was the boot to walk on water, and it turns out it says you get a chance of fishing up boots from the Broken Isles. Okay, did not want that to happen. But the last one that you do kind of want to have is the Way of the Flounder, which actually reduces your threat generation by 5 yards. So when you have the pool attached, you can reduce your threat generation. And if you have not seen it, because the quest chain, you actually have to kill a Murloc. So we're just going to do this, and there you go. That's what the new fishing pole looks like, the angular fishing pole. Yeah, he doesn't look all that great, but the abilities, they are pretty cool. So you guys, where are you turning to? You guys have a great weekend. Don't forget to get your stuff taken care of before 8.0 on Tuesday. And I will see you next week with some more gold, or before with an update to what the 8.0 stats squish and all that other wonderful stuff is like. See you then.